Hi folks, it's Andy. Welcome to this week's Kendo Rant. Okay, so here we are for another week of fantastic questions. We're going to jump to them in just a moment. But before we do, don't forget the YouTube magic. Like, share, subscribe, put a comment down below mentioning the word Kendo. It's imperative that you do this. See, the camera goes out of focus. That's how important it is, all right? Just to get our attention. It's imperative that we do this, okay? Because once we do that, go down there, have to like the video. That switches on the YouTube robots. Then you write a comment, use the word Kendo. What a brilliant Kendo video. Wow. And then the YouTube robots that you just switched on by clicking like, they're released into the world. They go and find people who are about to start Kendo and they get them to start Kendo. I'm pretty sure some of you watching this video right now were drafted by the YouTube robots, and we're aiming for like 6 million people start Kendo probably through this method, and we're probably past that already. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's how it works anyway. But if you do that, we'll make sure that we grow Kendo around the world. All right, so do your duty, like, share, subscribe, comment, and get those YouTube robots to work. Most importantly though, if you like this video, if you like videos like it, we've got Kendo Rant, we've got the feedback videos, we've got instructional content. I've got more of that coming soon. Shop at KendoStar.com, the best Kendo equipment website in the history of the universe and the future of the universe. Of course, I would say it because I own the place, but everybody agrees with me. All right, you get the best equipment, you get the best service. KendoStar.com. As the old ancient Japanese samurai saying goes, everyone's a winner, baby. That's the truth. So, shop at KendoStar.com. You're going to shop there anyway, right? Just don't mess around with the pretenders first. Don't waste your money and then come to us in the end. Don't buy twice. Don't buy twice, buy once at KendoStar.com. Right, let's get to these questions. Okay, let's go. Right, so these, okay, right, that's not the top. We're skipping ahead. Okay, awesome video. Had a quick question. Is there a difference in connotation between Kenshi, Kendoka, Kendoist? Okay, well, first of all, Kendoist is English. Okay, it's English. So yeah, that's that. Right, but between let's leave that. All right, Kenshi and Kendoka. Okay, so Kenshi is written like this, and Kendoka, oops, it's not like that. It's just easy to put the. It's written like this. Okay, it's written like this. Okay, now, Kenshi just means sword person, and Kendoka means a person that does Kendo, all right? So there is a slight different connotation. Somebody that doesn't do Kendo but does a different form of sword fighting could be referred to as a Kenshi. So maybe they did Kenjutsu, or what's that other one called? Iaido, is it? I'm kidding. That one, yeah. Or like even if you did like that one where they fight with Western swords, then you could call them Kenshi. Okay, Kendoka is someone specifically that does Kendo. Okay, it's specifically relevant to Kendo. I don't know what's going on with my camera today. It's really up for going out of focus. Whoop, there we go. Should we try again? How's that? Are we better? Right. So yeah, that's the difference. Okay. That's it. Simple. Next one, beginner question. Is the stomp before the strike demoed at 22:25 a good way of applying pressure? So this is from the feedback video I did yesterday. Let's get it up for you. Let's have a look at what it is exactly you are referring to. Okay, so here it is from the video that I put up yesterday, I think. For feedback. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. So that's what you mean there, right? Okay, this is a great men scored by the player here. So you mean that, right? Where he goes done and then hits. I mean, is the stomp before a strike a good way of applying pressure? I mean, I think the video itself demonstrates that yes, it can be. It can be. It depends. It depends, all right? It's not something you want to just throw out there sort of with no idea of what you're doing or randomly. A good player will hit you when you do it, all right? But it can be a good way of applying pressure to the other person. It's a good way to see how they'll react, yeah? And what I like about that example from the submission yesterday is that's exactly what that player was doing. They were seeing how their opponent reacts to their movements, and that's really key. That's really key, and especially I think that player said they were the shodan and they're going for nidan in a bit. So at that level, that's really really good as well. So yeah, I mean it can be cool. Right, next. A, what KendoStar stuff would you recommend I ask Santa will fit in a Christmas stocking? And B, are you in fact Santa? Well, I'm afraid the answer to B is classified. I wouldn't want to ruin the hopes and dreams of children and maybe not children all around the globe by disclosing the identity of Santa Claus. All right? So I cannot answer that question, I'm afraid. It would not be moral for me to do so. However, what Kendo stuff would you recommend in your Christmas stocking? Well, depends how big your stocking is, really. But I can't say that. Anyway, there's some great deals to be had ready for Christmas. You're gonna have to act fast if you want it in time for Christmas, though. I think we've only got a week or so left on, you know, being able to make sure we can get stuff in stock out to you. But if if it'll fit in there, then Vanguard Myrmidon Burger is a great buy at the minute. You still get a free burger bag with it. We've left that offer up there for you for a little while stock lasts. What else have we got going on? The new Canmurray burger bag is pretty slick. Or if you're feeling particularly flush, you could go for the Ken Pro burger bag. That is a beautiful burger bag. Really nice burger bag. Or the Shinai bag that goes with it too. A little bit more sort of affordable in price, should we say. But still really, really great Shinai bag, the Ken Pro one. They're sort of great things. How about some Shinai? If you've got a nice big long stocking to put them in, you could get some Shinai. So yeah, there's loads of things you could get. Loads of things. Pretty much everything on KendoStar is a great buy. I mean, let's be honest. Otherwise, I want to put it up there. Right. So there's plenty of stuff that's going on at KendoStar at the minute that is definitely worth looking at for your Christmas stocking. Right. I recently watched the movie Mukoku that probably spurred this inquiry. Generally, what's Kendo in the Japanese school systems like? Voluntary like high school sport and club, mandatory like gym class. How often do the high school students train? What are some of the dynamics? Anything you know about Kendo integrated to the school system would be appreciated. Okay, I know a bit about this. I don't know anything about that movie Mukoku. Never even heard of it, but cool. So essentially, right. In the Japanese school system, usually from junior high school, all right. So I think I think the Japanese school system is similar to the one that they have in the US. It's different to the one we have here in the UK. So I think in the US you also have elementary school, junior high school, and high school. I think, but that's how they have it in Japan. Here in the UK, we don't have that. We have what we call primary school, which would be like your elementary school, and then we have what we call high school, which is like 5 years. And then we have like a college, and then we have a university system. Whereas Japanese system goes elementary school, junior high school, then straight to university. So their sort of high school is similar to our college stage. In any case, most junior high, well, usually it's from junior high school. It's rare, but sometimes from elementary school they have it as well. But I've only ever seen it once, where they have what's called bukatsu. Bukatsu is a sports club. All right. It doesn't have to be a sports club. Actually, it's like the extracurricular club, because they could have like musical instruments, stuff like band and orchestra stuff, as well, or like calligraphy, stuff like that. And from junior high, usually upwards, Kendo is sometimes offered depending on the school. All right. Now, that is voluntary. The kids can choose that. And if they do choose that, then it depends again on the school, how serious they are about the competitive nature of their Kendo bu. Yeah. Now, that can really vary massively, because there's some schools that really put a lot of energy into having a very successful Kendo team, to the point where, especially private schools, of which there are a lot of private schools. It's not, like here in the UK, there's not many private schools, whereas in Japan there's a lot more. So especially private schools, they may offer scholarships to very strong sports players, including Kendo players. So those types of places are very, very serious. They'll probably practice every day, probably for a minimum of 2 to 3 hours, maybe more. And they're very, very, very committed. In addition to that, at junior high school, and I believe high school as well, some kind of budo is compulsory, as you would say, as gym class, or as we'd say in the UK, PE, physical education. So usually they have to choose between Kendo or Judo in junior high school. I'm not sure how that works exactly. My kids didn't go through that system. My kids, we moved over to the UK whilst they were still in elementary school. So I don't know the exact ins and outs, but I guess it's probably very dependent on the school as well. But there are PE classes or gym classes of Kendo as well. So kids that have got no experience or even real interest in Kendo are sometimes made to experience it. That's why you sometimes occasionally see these videos come up on YouTube of kids in Japan, and they're all wearing boga, but they're wearing like shorts and a t-shirt. It's like their PE kits, their gym kit. And then like it just looks wild, like them kind of flailing around at each other. Sometimes you see that. So yeah. So that's that. And then the dynamics again are super. It depends what you mean by the dynamics, but they're super dependent on the school. Like, but it depends. It depends. Some of them have the boys and girls training together. Some of them don't have boys or girls. If it's a girls' school, for example, obviously. But there's some mixed schools that don't have, like, I know of at least one very strong Kendo high school that, like, it's a mixed school, but it didn't allow, at least in the time I was in Japan, it didn't allow girls in the Kendo, but I think that changed though, I heard, but I hope so. So yeah, it depends on the school. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the extent of my knowledge. Is there a reason that Taski are not worn on the sides as well as the back? It's my thought that the best view of any match is directly from the side, seeing player's profile, but you can't tell from what angle which player is which colour. This simple change will really help the readability of matches for the audience as well as the shimpan. Curious if this has ever been considered or if it's just done this way because that's the way it's always been done. Just floating ideas to get them out into the void. Would love your opinion. Bonus, the Taski sales will triple. So the Taski or the Mejirushi is the technically correct term, but I use the term Taski as well. That's what everybody else says. Is the ribbon that goes on your back. Yeah, it's either red or white, and that signifies which side you are as a player in the match. So I don't know why we don't have them on the sides as well. I can't think of a good reason other than there's not an easy way, I guess, to really attach them that way. I mean, but something could be done. I have seen events where they've had coloured bands that go on the side of the tare as well, which I didn't think was a terrible idea. But I've got the feeling there's probably a lack of appetite for sort of pushing that as an official thing, because I think it kind of probably takes Kendo a little bit too much in the direction of sort of sportifying or, going towards the dreaded sort of Olympic question. So there is a movement from the All Japan Kendo Federation to sort of remove sportified elements, overly sport, particularly language. That's why they don't like us using the word Taski. Actually, it should be Mejirushi. And they don't like us using words like Borga, for example. Borga, we're not supposed to say Borga, we're supposed to say Kendoga, right? Because Borga isn't a specific word to Kendo. It just means protective gear. So like people that do karate or whatever, that have those helmets and stuff, that's also called Borga. I don't know. I don't see it as a major issue actually, and it's probably a good idea, but I don't see there being a massive appetite for that sort of change from the Japanese side, and until that's there, unlikely to happen. Next one, quick question for you, Fish Sensei. I'll be moving to Fukuoka next summer for 1 year, and I found myself a dojo. They train 3 times a week, and will I be able to go training in another dojo, or is that considered rude? Also, how does the training differ from the US and Europe? Since my Japanese is still at beginner level, I'm afraid of misunderstandings. I just passed my 4th Q, and I wanted to know if I'll be able to continue moving up the grading ladder. How does Japan grading for a 28-year-old look like at my level? Okay, right. Okay, so I commented on this and I asked you if you would send me a link or give me the name of the dojo because I lived in Fukuoka, so I might know it. You did, which is great. Let me see if I can get it up. Here it is. So here's the actual dojo. I think it's called Gokoku Shonen Kendo-bu. I think it's part of, I think it's called Gokoku Jinja. I think I'm saying that right. I'm going to check right now. Okay, stand by from checking. Yeah, that is indeed exactly what it says. So it says that this is a dojo in central Fukuoka and Chuoku, and it's next to, there's a dojo next to the Gokoku Jinja, and enthusiastically practicing. So that's cool. Now, what I would point out here is this says it's from the elementary 1st year students to the junior high school 3rd year students are mainly practicing there 3 times a week. All right. Now, what that means is it doesn't mean that there's no adults there. All right. I don't know because I've never been to this dojo. I don't know anything about it. So I don't know. But often it looks like a similar sort of club that I was part of. As well, in a different area of Fukuoka where my kids are doing Kendo, right? So the kids go, but there's also a group of adults there who are sort of senseis that help practice with the kids. Now, if you're at 4th Q, then probably it's not really going to be appropriate for you to be standing as motodachi for those kids. I'd recommend you hopefully, if they're happy with you sort of getting in and practicing with the chugakse, the junior high school kids, I'm sure that's what they'll probably think is appropriate as well. But just go there and go with the flow. Just go there and do what they say. And I'm sure you'll be fine. It will differ probably from what you're used to, because you'll probably be practicing mainly with kids. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. All right, especially the junior high school kids. They're not tiny. Some of them are, but you know, it doesn't mean you won't be able to learn a lot, because you will. And if you focus on your own practice, you'll still be able to develop a lot as well. You'll probably do a lot of Kihon, a lot of basics, and stuff like that, which is good. It's exactly what you need at your level. A year of doing that will be brilliant. Just looking at some of the names on here as well. These are the Hanshi. This dude is a beast, man. He's awesome. And the sensei is very famous too. But they're the Hanshi. I doubt they go to the Keiko much, to be honest. But I don't know. Depends. They might do. But anyway, yeah, so that's basically how it works. If I click on the thing about Keiko, so it's got the practice times there. You're going to be practicing on a Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So they split the Keiko time into 2 as well. But I'd go there from 6 o'clock if I were you. I'd go there from 6 o'clock and just do the whole lot. And there you go. So look, it will be a bit different, but I think you'll have a great time. It looks like a beautiful dojo, absolutely beautiful. And I think you'll have fun doing it. Now, if you want to practice outside of these times as well, I don't think that's a problem. If I were you though, I'd practice for the first sort of few weeks. I'd just practice here, get to know everybody, all right, and get into sort of rhythm of doing that. And then if you feel like you've got more space in your sort of schedule to practice more, and you want to practice at other places, then find where you want to practice. Speak to whoever's looking after you at the Gokoku Shonen Kendobu, was it? Whoever is there, and say, oh, do you know this place? I'm looking to get extra practice in. You know this place? Or another thing you do is probably better, is go to this club for a few weeks, and then if you feel like you want to do more, speak to the other senseis there and say, oh, actually, I want to do more practice, especially with other adults. It depends though. I mean, they might have like an adult section of this club as well. They often do, but you know. But anyway, just say to one of those guys, is there anywhere else you can recommend for me to go? And maybe one of those guys is doing Kendo somewhere else and they could take you or something like that. And that's the best way. All right. That's what I'd recommend doing. All right. But I'm sure it'll be fine either way. I think you're going to have a blast. Fukuoka's a beautiful place. I love it with all my heart. You're going to have a wonderful time there. All right. You're going to have a great year. Okay. Next. Oh, we've got a few. Let's have a look. Right. I have a pair of Kote back from when I first started Kendo. It's been in rotation since starting Kendo 4 years ago. For as long as I remember, this particular pair, when doing Osameto into Sageto, the thumb portion doesn't move much, despite stretching to get my thumb off the tsuba. It's a way to almost remold the Kote to increase the flexibility of the Kote. And a few more questions directed at yourself. I'll get to those in a sec. First. All right, first off, this is one that a lot of people don't realise, yeah? But you don't actually need to put your thumb on the tsuba when you do taito with a shinai, all right? You do the bokuto, but not with the shinai. Let me get the book. Not in the book. So, you don't actually have to put your thumb on the tsuba with the shinai, especially when you have the kote on anyway, all right? So if you're struggling to do it, you don't have to do it. All right, is what I'd first say. And it should become more flexible with use. But if you've been using it for 4 years, I can't see why it's not. I don't know. But I would say just don't sweat it too much. And if you're struggling to get your thumb on and off the tsuba with your kote on, don't do it. You don't have to. All right, I don't. Okay, next one, few more questions, sorry. Right, so here's your other questions. Let's have a look. Right, these could be quick fire. What's your favourite match Ippon highlight of this year? It was it in the Tozai Taiko? And it was, I think it was Tsuchitani versus, what's he called? Hayashida. Let's have a look. Okay, found it. So it's this one. Okay, so we've got Mr. Chitani on this side from Osaka, and on this side we've got Mr. Hayashida from Fukui. So this is the Ippon. This is my favorite Ippon of this year, hands down. Here it comes. Amazing. Amazing. Why is it amazing? Why is it amazing? I'll tell you why it's amazing. So this is men Suriage men, right? But yeah, it's men Suriage men. Suriage men. Yeah? But what's key to this? What's key to this Ippon? Two things. One, he's already a point down. Should we go to the first point? The point he's already lost is men kaishido. Okay, men kaishido. Then if we go to this point, okay, what is amazing about this is this suriage isn't your standard suriage. Suriage pam is normally like this. What Chitani-san does here that's amazing is he makes this first part of the waza look exactly like kaishido. This looks like he's gonna get a kaishido, right? Now Hayashida-san is famous for the really good menuchi as well. So like, you know, it's kind of obviously gonna aim for the kaishido. So it looks like he's gonna do kaishido. From this point of view, it looks like he's gonna do kaishido. Yeah, it looks exactly like kaishido. So in response, here he's like, oh no, I'm gonna get hit the kaishido. So his hands come down to block the door. But it wasn't kaishido, it was men. That's mental. It's mental, isn't it? And it's amazing. And I know it's true, and I know that's the way it was set up because there's another video out there. All right, I'm not going to post it on here, but there's another video out there where he actually talks through doing this, and it's from like 3 years ago. It's like this is one of the waza I like to use. So I know that it's like the waza that he uses, but it's just nuts. It's just nuts. I love it so much. Okay, so that's my favorite Ippon of the year. What goals did I set myself in Kendo that I managed to achieve and that I'm proud of? So this year I decided I had a couple of goals that I achieved and I was proud of. First was to improve my Shimpan ability and be selected as a Shimpan for the European Kendo Championships and be a Shimpan at the do Shimpan well at the European Championships. I achieved that, I think. I don't think I made any glaring mistakes at the Championships either. I think I did pretty okay as on the whole. I was able to even referee one of the semi-final matches, which I was really happy about for my first ever event doing so. So that was great. I also decided that as I was going to increase my Shimpan ability, I thought it was also important for me to also, I said also a lot in that sentence, didn't I? Participate in Shiai again. It's something I've not done for several years. So I joined a few Shiai this year. And overall, I'm quite happy with the performance or my overall, the way my matches went for the most part. So I had some results I was very happy with. I'm not gonna spoil them on here though because I've got a video coming out about that. If you follow me on Facebook, you might have seen that I was involved in the Shiai in Japan. So others that the end result weren't exactly what I wanted, but the sort of content of the Shiai itself was something I was quite happy with and pleased with. I was able to do the Shiai how I wanted to. Yeah, I'd say that. Okay. Next one. Are there any aspects of the Kendo you've seen this year that you want people to abandon? It could be from people think the idea that Hikiwaza is now weaker with COVID rules, something small as using vinegar solution to set the eyes on it, dye in one's uniform. So yeah, I mean, that is both of those things are nonsense. Hikiwaza is not weaker than it was before. In fact, I'd argue it's better. Now I'm actually really happy with the place Hikiwaza is in. And I'm somebody that's like, as a competitive player, especially in my sort of recent career, if I still have one, or my late career as a player, Hikiwaza was a real mainstay of my repertoire. So I think it's in a great place, and I think using vinegar to set eyes on me in your uniform is just a waste of your time and vinegar. But what do I want people to really abandon? I want people to really abandon, and it's not just this year. Man, yeah, man, yeah. Can I have IQ, please? Yeah. Can we stop teaching people to do this, right? And teaching just to do Kendo properly, right? That's one. Second is like, I think there is a massive, and it's really become evident to me this year. I think there's an over emphasis on people's downgrade. Oh, that's controversial. Should I say this on it? This might be cut. This might be cut. But there is. I'm sorry, but there is. There is. And it's easy for me to say that because obviously from the perspective of many people that watch this channel, obviously I have a downgrade, which is like sixth dan, which in the West is considered a relatively high grade. But the thing is this is, and I think it kind of hammered it home to me going back to Japan earlier this year. At the start of the year, I went back to Japan, and having been away for several years, obviously, and I'd not been back really, to the way, you know, being in a small Kendo community in the UK or even in Europe, where people treat sixth dan as like, whoa, sensei high grade. And whereas when I went back to Japan in January, and it's like, you're nobody, bro. You're nobody. And it's true. It's true. Like, I spent a month out there training. Nobody asked my grade once. Nobody asked me what downgrade. Nobody cares. That's why. Nobody cares what my downgrade is. Because I'm not Hachidan, for a start, right? If you're Hachidan, then people might care, right? But below that, people don't care, right? And I was going to dojos, and everybody, like those 40 people that everybody's Nanadan. And it's like, so what? Yeah, that's the base grade. And they probably assumed I was as well. Right. Because it's not even, and that's not to say that like my Kendo is good enough for that or something like that. Like there's a massive variance, all right, just in the same downgrade. It's not that. It's just that it doesn't matter that much. People don't use that as a metric to measure or judge your Kendo ability. Nobody cares what downgrade you are that much. It's not at all, but hardly. Right? And obviously you pass the downgrade, everyone's happy, you know, well done, congratulations, sort of thing. But nobody's like, whoa. Unless they don't do Kendo. If they're not a Kendo person, you tell them that you're like third dan, they're like, wow. Yeah, but it's but here it's like, I think part of it is because we don't have the cultural hierarchy in the same way that Japanese society does, which is mainly based on age. So we, in Kendo, obviously that still exists. So we use downgrade as a metric instead. And it kind of, for the most part, it works all right. But at the same time, it kind of skews things a lot as well. So I'd never try to justify anything I say about Kendo or in reference to Kendo, with me being sixth dan, for example, right? So I'd never be like, well, I'm right and you're wrong because I'm sixth dan and you're second dan. Like that's not correct. It might be that I've been doing Kendo for 20 years and I have got a lot more experience and I've been where you are, so I know what you're looking. I know how you're looking at it from your point of view. I remember it, and my opinions change, and now I know more. I've got more information, and that's where I'm coming from. But it's not because I'm ex dan. So yeah. And I was chatting with my friend about this the other day. Actually, I hope you won't mind me talking about this. I don't know if he watches this show or not. But he recently, he's my senpai. Actually, he recently achieved his 7th dan, and we're talking about how obviously I'm looking to do 7th dan soon too. Not ready yet, but when I do, I will. And how it's kind of, in a way, it's a beginning, not an end. You know. So yeah, I just think there's too much emphasis on downgrade as a point of status. It's important for Kendoka to pursue downgrades, don't get me wrong, It's important, but it's overemphasized as a recognition of a person's status, in my opinion. Thank you for the gift of KendoStar and the wealth of knowledge that comes with your videos. Thank you very much. That's a very, very kind thing for you to say. Right, next. Hi, Sensei. I hope all is well. In my last feedback video, you've said that I need to be more confident in my strikes and not expect them to fail. Been working on that, but I found that I'll make strikes that I'm pretty convinced weren't great, only to have my partner or video evidence show me it was actually a better strike than I thought. Main strikes, I was firmly convinced hit my opponent's shinai will show that I hit the target well before the shinai came up to block. So my question is this week is simply, is this just because I'm too new to see what was and what wasn't a proper strike? Or is this something that kind of sticks around and I need to treat every strike that was even close like that as a great strike? Obviously right now I'm just going to treat every strike like it's the best I can pull off, but I was just curious if that changed the experience since your time. Okay, so first thing, that's a really great point that you raised. First thing, that often happens, right, is when you do something and it might not even necessarily be like, oh, you made a strike and you didn't think it hit. It might be just like, oh, you know, my movements are really rubbish today. My Kendo's really rubbish today. And then you actually watch back a video and it's not as bad as you thought it was. But that's common. Now, what you're saying, though, is will you develop an eye or an understanding of when your strikes are successful and when they're not? All right. Or will you always have this sort of gray zone where you're not really sure? And I would say that you will develop an ability to ascertain whether your strike was really valid or not. And that will improve as your experience in Kendo improves. All right. So, yeah, that's that. And the sooner you can develop that, the better. Actually, so what I'd recommend you do is during your practices, when you're making these strikes, I want you to ask yourself each time, have a think about how the strike felt. Did it feel like it hit the shinai, or did it feel like it hit the memberdon? Did it sound like it hit the memberdon, or did it sound like it hit the shinai? Was it really a good strike or not? And you won't always know the answer. In fact, at the beginning, you probably won't know it very often, but at least assess it. And then look back at the video and go, okay, well, that one was, and that one wasn't. Okay, so let's try and remember the difference. And then, especially on the video, you can remember the sound as well. And you'll start to ascertain the difference. And then as soon as, when you start being able to do that, you'll start to have a lot more success. You really will, because you won't waste a lot of time in your matches trying to sell points that aren't points. And it will be easy for referees as well. I'm talking in the context of Shiai, of course, but it goes for Jigeko too. But you won't waste the judge's time, whether it's a grading or Shiai, with you trying to sell points that aren't there, and you'll be able to communicate to them that you know the difference between a point that's valid and you don't. So it will come with time. It will come with time, but it does take time. It does take experience, and it takes effort. It won't just be time. You've got to try and improve it at the same time. That makes sense. All right. I know you'll do great with it though. Okay. Next, Sensei, the red player executes a very quick Kote strike and retreats diagonally away from the white player with proper zanshin. You mean zanshin? There's no hard. I'm doing my spelling corrections. There's no hard C in Japanese, just so you know. I've spotted another one down here, but we'll get to that. A Hudon pop was audible. The white player never broke kamae. Is the Ippon for the red player, my opinion is yes. What are the circumstances where what looks like good strikes are not Ippon because the opponent doesn't break kamae? Thank you for your answer. So very quick Kote strike and retreats diagonally away from white. If the white player truly does not break the kamae, it's impossible for the red player to strike the Kote. It's impossible. Can't happen. So, if the red player moves to the diagonal side first, and the white player doesn't move, then their kamae is broken, isn't it? Because although their migamae, their physical kamae, remains the same, their kigamae, their internal kamae, their mental kamae, is obviously broken because it hasn't been able to respond to the red player. Having said that, questions like this aren't really very easy to answer because there isn't a black and white answer to this question because it depends on a lot of factors. All right, it depends on a lot of factors. But in principle, if no opportunity is created and the kamae of the player being hit is not broken in any way whatsoever, both the migamae and the kigamae, then it cannot be Ippon. Okay, it cannot be Ippon. Sometimes you see a common one from the Tsubazeriai. Somebody slips the shinai underneath the elbow of the player who's making the good kamae towards the opponent. Slip it under the elbow and manage to hit the door. This can't really be considered hikido in most situations. All right, I never say never. But for the most part, if it hasn't disturbed the kamae, it hasn't if it hasn't been made at the correct datotsu no kikai, or not correct, datotsu no kikai, a good opportunity, then it can't be considered valid. Otherwise, we're getting into the realm of just tapping each other's boga with sticks, and that's not what kendo is, and that's not what a valid strike is. Okay. Last one. Hello, Andy Sensei. I have a question regarding suburi. I started doing suburi with a short bokken sword because I noticed that my cuts are not all straight from up to bottom and it's very hard to keep them straight using a short sword. Do you have any tips for suburi with a short sword? Do you have any technical tips for learning perfectly straight cuts? I don't have this problem with the shinai, and people even say that I have nice straight cuts after keiko, thanks. I don't know what you mean by a short bokken. If you mean like a kotachi for kata, I mean, I guess you could do suburi with that. If your swing's not straight, the 99% of the reason is that you've got too much power in your right hand somewhere, and your left hand isn't actually swinging the sword. A great tool for that is the kiri bokuto, the light bokuto, and a short sword can help for that. But I think because you've not got that same balance, I'm not sure if it translates that well. But I think the key to this is definitely concentrating on just using your left hand. So what I'd probably do is stand in front of a mirror if you can, or a reflective window will do, and try doing the one-handed suburi just with the left hand, and try to keep the shinai, the sword as straight as you possibly can, okay, and then add the right hand later. But I definitely think it's a left hand issue. Okay, but at the same time, if like when you do it with the shinai, it's fine. I wouldn't get totally too upset by it either, because you know, it doesn't really matter what you do with the kotachi if what you're doing with the shinai is okay. Yeah, like you're identifying a problem that's not there in a way. So yeah, that's what I'd say on that. And there we go, we're at the end. Thank you very much everyone for joining me today. Don't forget to set out those YouTube robots by like, sharing and subscribing. Write a comment down below. Shop at KendoStar.com, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.